Okay, Chaver, welcome. This is the first video in the series of ideas on the new Derech halimud associated with the Toras Chaim system of learning Likutei Moharan. And we don't have this totally under control yet, and it's not really necessarily laid out specifically. So we're going to work to just give some explanations to help us understand how we're changing our limud and our lives and everything with this new way of learning. New old way of learning Likutei Moharan. So first of all, let's just say that there's many places we see. I want to direct everybody to Chaim Moharan, beginning with Ois Shin Mem 340. You could find it in the book Tzadik, also the English one on page 301. This section of Chaim Moharan talks about the greatness of the teachings of Rabbi Nachman, and particularly about Likutei Moharan, and it's really quite amazing. The Rebbe says many different things about it. One of the things he says, for example, is that, the Baal Shem Tov drew down Torah from the level of Bina, I think he says, and the Mizracher Magid drew down Torah from the level of Chochmah, and these were very high, obviously, but he said that his Torah comes from a place even higher than these. Something that everything is original, everything is new. It comes from, presumably, from something like from the place of Kesser. And what do I know? That's what the Rebbe said. The Rebbe said also that his teachings are so unique and so deep and so amazing. Let me read this. This is in English from Chaim Moharan. As yet, the world has not had the least taste of me. If they were to hear just one of my lessons together with its proper melody and dance, they would pass into a state of total surrender. I mean the whole world, even the animals and plants. Everything which exists would be nullified. Their very souls would expire from the overwhelming delight they would have. Why am I bringing this up here? I'm trying to express that the Toras in Likutei Moharan of Rabbi Nachman are not just nice ideas written down. They are something extremely deep that exists on a pardes. They span multiple levels. There's different connections, different understandings, different depths that every person will have. And it permeates the entire existence in a person's entire life, to the extent where you would never open another book and think, I wonder what the dance and song that go along with this that would shake the whole world to its foundations. Right? Why? Because the Sefer is something that spans all levels of understanding, and can permeate a person's life in every aspect, and can change the way a person lives. These are some of the things that the Rebbe said about the greatness of the Sefer. He said that if the Sefer was not published, that history would have unfolded differently. The writing of the Sefer affected the way that history unfolded in the world. Amazing stuff. So, having said that, the Derech of limud over here that we're talking about, that we're trying to understand, and Nachman Fried, Baruch Hashem, is the one who's guiding this whole new group, this whole new way of learning, and I'm trying to glean from him some of these things. And one of the main things that we're speaking about in this particular time is that a person needs to make the Torah that we're learning part of their life. We have to mamash live this Torah. We have to live deeply. We have to get deep into it, and we have to be thinking about it throughout our whole day. The concept should be once again permeating our lives. We should be seeing. We're learning right now the concept of Malchus. It should be coming up, and we should be seeing the world from a place of Malchus. Our other learning will have Malchus in it. Everything is gonna, and we're making a daily effort to connect to these deep ideas, right? So I'm reading from the book Tzadik, which is the translation of Chaim Moharan, on page 313. Regarding the lessons written in his own words, he said they will bear the same minute examination as biblical verses. They contain many hidden meanings. There are passages where the Rebbe repeats himself apparently for no reason. However, these passages have to be examined minutely because each of the repetitions has a purpose. The Rebbe also said that the lessons which were written in his own words possess a special power because of their universality. The most important thing is the Musar, the guidance, and the prescriptions for practical living, which emerge from every one of his lessons. This is besides the hidden secrets they contain, which cannot be explained in writing, and must be left for the reader himself to form his own conception. Right? The Rebbe is telling us that there is such depth over here that we need to dive in. We need to give it the same treatment that we would psukim. We have to look deeply in each word. Why is he using this particular word? What's the Rebbe telling us over here? When things repeat, it's not a coincidence, it's not a mistake. We have to understand what's the repetition coming to teach us. Every little thing we can be medayek, and we can understand the depth, a much greater depth of what the Rebbe is trying to tell us. He says like this, page 323. This is in Shin Pei Ches. In this world, the main thing is to fulfill the tzaddik's teachings to the letter according to their simple meaning. We should follow them in the way that the Rebbe advised us to several times, namely, to go with a particular lesson for a period of time, until all one's devotions from morning till night are in accordance with the lesson in question. After this, he should continue with another teaching drawn from a different lesson. Meaning what? That we should put ourselves so much into this Torah, Nun Vav, that we're starting with, that it becomes something that occupies us in a certain place from morning till night. That everything, all of our devotions, all of our learning, all of our davening, all of our interaction with our families, with our friends, with everything we do in the world, our basic and business, should all be changed and elevated from the Torah that we're learning. It should become part of our existence, part of our lives. After this, we should continue with another lesson. You should follow this practice constantly until he has gone through all the Rebbe's lessons. Don't be afraid, Chevra. God will help with this. It is very important not to be in too much of a hurry or try to do everything all at once. Proceed calmly in an orderly way, advancing steadily, a little at a time. This is the way to make genuine progress until in the end you'll be able to fulfill all the Rebbe's teachings. In other words, we don't zoom. We're going to see that there is an aspect of going quickly also. But in this main derech of learning be'iyun, we want to really understand every part of it according to the best way we can. Give it the proper time. Don't rush. Make sure we're making an effort to scrutinize and understand every little bit of the Torah, and we're constantly thinking about it every single day. We're schmoozing about it with our chabura. We're seeing what's being put out on the WhatsApp groups about this Torah. We are constantly living connected to this Torah. It's mamash becoming part of our existence. The Rebbe says in Shin Mem Vav, page 305 in Tzaddik, the Rebbe said that Likutei Moharan was the beginning of the redemption. Now that it has come out, he said, I very much want people to study it. They must study it so much that they know it by heart, because it is filled with guidance and has the power to stir men to God in a way nothing else can compare with. Meaning, if we learn it to this way, that we know it by heart, meaning that we've internalized it, we've given it the right time, we've given it effort, and we have it in our existence, it can cause us to become close to Hashem in a way that nothing else can. So he said, the best way to study his works was to follow two separate routines. The first should be one of study at speed, so as to become thoroughly conversant with the books. Go through, it could be you're going to go through all of the Likutei Moharan. It could be you're going to go through all of Kitzur Likutei Moharan to get familiar with all of the Rebbe's teachings. Could also be that you're going to first start with this Torah, Nun Vav, and we're going to learn through the whole thing very quickly, just one time, just the words to get a sense of the whole structure of the Torah, all the different parts. And then, however, the second should be one of study in depth, because his books contain the profoundest depths. The Rebbe said, it is a great mitzvah to study it at length. And he told some other person, that one could develop a great mind through doing so, because even in its literal interpretation, the work contains profound wisdom and depth. Those who study his works constantly can become pure and holy, and will then be worthy of seeing the inner meaning they contain. Beneath the surface, there is much that is not evident at all on the literal level. Happy is the one who can study them regularly. Meaning, it's not there. If we put this effort into living it, into putting our effort into it, it's going to change us. It's going to make us become tahor. and Kaddish. And when we change ourselves in this way through this limud, it's going to open up to us, and we're going to see things that are very deep, and that are something that we could never see if we didn't engage it in this way. Someone who has eyes and devotes himself wholeheartedly to understanding the Rebbe's words will understand a tiny portion of the tremendous depths which this work contains. They are unparalleled by any other work. Just we devote ourselves, we put this effort in, we're going to see something unbelievably deep that cannot be compared to anything in the world. He said, there will be people who will learn and pray by means of this book. And he said that if a person is prepared to sit with his works, and study them in a spirit of openness and honesty, without trying to pick holes and argue for the sake of it, then without any doubt, the very sinews of his heart's obstinacy will be split apart. We want to be opened up. We want that our lev shel Evan should become a lev basar. Oh, he says Breslov, right? The Rebbe says over here that if we learn this Torah with mamish honesty and openness, we're gonna discuss. Maybe we're gonna argue and have machlekes l'shem shemayim, but it's not going to be just for the sake of I could pick a hole in this. It's because we want to connect. We want to hear what the Rebbe has to tell us. By putting in this effort and making sure that we give it the time, and we really go in depth, and we pull everything apart, and we focus on every single word, on every single passage. We give every ois the right time that it needs to be able to have a deep understanding of it. It's going to open up, and it's going to show us these amazing depths and these unbelievable secrets that we could not find otherwise, that are not comparable to anything else in the world, that are going to inspire us to come close to the Rebbeinu Shalom, that are going to make us Kaddish and Tahor and bring us closer. This is what we can experience if we give it the right time. Just one last thing. There's a beautiful thing that the Rebbe says over here. Let me just find it. Talking about Likutei Moharan. It's just something that always inspires me to hear. Listen to this. This is Ois Shin Pei Tes. It's on page 324 in the book Tzaddik. The Rebbe once explained to me that all his lessons are like entering a palace containing halls and chambers, anterooms and entrances, all of the most awesome beauty, with story upon story, each with its own unique style. No sooner do you enter a room and start examining it, wondering at the extraordinary novelty of the design, then you notice an amazing opening leading to another room. And so it goes on from one room to the next, then on to another story, each opening on to the next with entrances and windows, everything linked and bound to everything else, with the profoundest wisdom and ultimate beauty. It is impossible to explain this in writing to anyone who has not yet begun to understand something of the depths of the Rebbe's words. Happy is the person who is worthy of tasting the pleasant sweetness of his deep and holy teachings. I personally, I just want to bring out that I don't think, and I don't want this to shine a negative light on anyone else in my life, but I think the biggest pleasure I've ever experienced in my entire life is through the Sefer Likutei Moharan, through going through a Torah in depth and spending months on it and going deep and understanding it in a deep way, and coming to one of those places where the Rebbe does something that shows you, it peels back the curtain and shows you the Yichud Hashem, shows how everything is united and everything is really connected and everything is one. And he gives us a little peek from his high place, a little drop of what he saw, and shows us something so deep. And it's the biggest pleasure that I've ever experienced in my life. Particularly, this happened to me. I often tell people when I first learned Torah Vav, and I spent months on it, and I got deep into it. And as we all know, Torah Vav is an amazing, amazing Torah. And when it came to the end afterwards, when they bring from the Kisvei Arizal and show how everything in that whole Torah is there in the few short kavanas of the Arizal from Shar Kavanas for Chodesh Elul. And I was driving in my car thinking about this and listening to a shir on it, and I just started to scream. I couldn't take it. It is so unbelievable and so much and so many things coming together. So much unbelievable Kedusha, unbelievable a glimpse into the depths that surround us in these Toras. So Mirz Hashem, we should all merit to be able to dig in and to follow this new Derech. This, just for a quick wrap up, the first point we're trying to make here is the fact that we have to make it a part of our lives. We have to live this Torah. Every single day we have to connect to it. And we have to make sure that we give it the right time. Maybe once a week we spend an hour on it, or maybe every day we spend an hour on it. But if we have a chabura once a week, and then we learn even a little bit every day, we communicate with each other a little bit every day in this inyan, and we make sure that we're constantly thinking about the Rebbe's Torah throughout our lives. This is something about the Derech which is going to be amazing. Okay, one more quick addendum. I just want to point out a way that personally, just to try and open it up so we can all try to develop our own individual experiences. A way that already, just starting this Torah, that I felt this Torah coming into my life and seeing the concepts being brought out in my personal life. So a little bit later on in the Torah, we're going to see the concept of machlekes l'shem shamayim, that it's important to have a machlekes l'shem shamayim. And it sounds like the Rebbe is telling us, surface level, that machlekes l'shem shamayim can take us to a higher level of das, a higher level of understanding than if we didn't have any machlekes, period. Machlekes l'shem shamayim is a good thing. And earlier on in the Torah, we have this that we see that malchus is only in its proper state, is only good when it's the malchus de kedusha, let's say. But as soon as it becomes l'tzarchai u'lahanasai, when a person uses malchus, whatever that means, authority, leadership, whatever it is, for their own needs or for their own hana, pleasure, benefit, then the malchus is out the window. It's you're going into the wrong side. Malchus is sitra achra, right? You're ruining everything. So with all these concepts, we all have an aspect of malchus in our own lives, and machlekes l'shem shamayim is a gewaldige zach, and it's going to bring us to a higher place. And the malchus that we experience is only when it's not for our own individual needs, for our own hana, right? So we were discussing after the Shabbos shir, we got into with another person, got into a pretty heated machlekes l'shem shamayim, totally l'shem shamayim, about this inyan of does HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a sticky inyan. I don't really want to say what it is because it's you have to really talk about it in the right environment with the right place. But in any case, we were arguing about this inyan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and malchus as it relates to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, specifically ein melech b'lo am. And it started to get heated, and we started going back and forth, and it was gevaldik, totally shem shemaim. But I reached a point where he started saying some things, and I was like, I felt that now I'm not l'shem shemaim anymore. Now I'm getting defensive, and now I just wanna beat him down. I wanna win the argument. I wanna show him why I'm wrong from my own defensiveness and my own need to try to overpower his opinion, right? So for me, right away, I felt this, and I said to myself, this is not a machlekes l'shem shamayim anymore. This is not malchus in a way that is malchus de kedusha. This is now l'tzarki. This is now for my personal needs. This is now for my personal hana. I wanna win this argument. I wanna show that whatever my feelings were, not good. And Baruch Hashem, I thought about it, and I said, okay, I'm not gonna engage in this anymore. And I told the person exactly what was going on, and how I wasn't arguing from the right place anymore. It was no longer Shem Shemayim. Baruch Hashem, it brought us to such a tremendously deeper connection and understanding about the inyan we were discussing. We went on to continue to learn and to be able to say, okay, let's put this aside for now. And really, we're on the same page. We're on the same team, right? So this is how I felt. Just a quick little inyan about how I experienced the Torah in my own personal life. I saw Rabbi Nachman's eitzas, Rabbi Nachman's Torah coming out in my own life because I'm trying to focus on. I'm trying to really connect to it and make it part of my life. B'rut Hashem, we should be zoicha to see it come out in our lives in many, many more ways. Shkaya Chevra.